always forget that too.
They might see some weeds coming into the county. I know they would if they come in the south side. I can direct them to where they should look.
All right, we're live. Right.
Can we start?
Yes.
People? We'll start with the pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we might as well start on your first thing there.
Yep, my service area amendments. So now that we're getting to the end of the fiscal year, I have to keep a close eye on those service areas, you know, like I kind of explained in the budget. Right now, service area 1 and 3 is where I'm gonna be moving some stuff around. So once Alicia gets finished with all the claims today, then I'll kind of see what the lumps amounts are that I need. Because then if I do that amendment today, I can date it today.
Technically, you got a month and a week yet to finish it out.
And it's too late to do a big
Yep.
amendment because I can't get it to the paper and now with the holiday.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do my best just to manipulate within those areas.
Okay, well, is there some of them that we could push off till,
That's what I'm
July.
gonna try to do if I had to push off some of the claims.
okay, checks in the mail, right deal?
So like medical examiners,
Yeah, well, should be
I will pay the investigators,
Okay,
but some of the, like Lynn County sent me a bunch. So I figure, well, they waited that long, I'll just hold, if I have to hold that kind of stuff, then I will call a vendor or whatever.
okay,
And then the other area is the juvenile detention,
okay.
so,
I'm thinking I gotta send Glenn do not set interest on that bill.
oh, for Raycom?
Yeah, I got it pushed off till
Oh, okay,
after 1st July.
and, yeah,
Everybody had conversations there.
No,
You
that's
guys
fine.
didn't know what was going on,
so if you guys would approve those 2 service areas,
1 and 3.
1 and 3 for sure, I'm gonna nitpick a little bit more, but I think those are the only 2. I can have it ready by tomorrow too for
Cool.
minutes, when we approve minutes, that way I
Okay.
can approve it and move on.
Okay.
So that's by resolution.
So you need a motion to approve those 2 service areas, 1 and 3, correct?
Yep,
And that would be my motion.
Second.
so. On my resolution.
Primer, aye.
Here's that guy.
Seaman, aye.
thank you. Back to that Raycom one,
Yep,
is that 50/50? Or
No.
up to 200,000?
up to 200,000 comes out of,
Okay, that's
ARPA
my,
fund.
that's what I was asking him, but he thought that they were gonna split it 50/50.
No, I
So,
said 200,000.
he's coming tomorrow, you guys can decide that,
Okay,
but,
that's probably why I figured he wanted to push it off till
all right.
July.
Is that,
the new budget.
okay, that's fine.
'Cause that
I have
was-
other ARPA ones tomorrow, you guys can,
Because originally he was not gonna go with any new radios. Radios that he's got are 18 years old. They're in the trucks right now. They're that
Oh,
old.
I wouldn't have a clue, but I think they are, I think they've got some age to them.
Yeah,
About-
I think they're 18 years old, and I kinda talked him in, 18
Yeah.
years old, now's the time to
Sure,
bring everything up to date.
yeah.
Yeah, about next year they'll be obsolete.
yeah. And then these are just, we already did that, and I got the actual invoice with one initial,
Okay.
and then signed his time sheet for the week.
Oh, got it.
That's all I had that had to get done for you.
And by the way, good morning, Ray. and
Morning.
Good morning, Deb.
Good morning. I appreciate you doing a meeting today, so I leave on vacation tomorrow.
You going somewhere fun?
Up to the lake.
That'd be nice.
It's my decompression zone.
I get it. I'm going to our cabin this weekend, so I'm
Oh.
ready.
Yes.
Ray and I have to go somewhere tomorrow. huh?
Yeah, we're going to Des Moines for 2 days for the opioid settlement
Oh,
distribution
good.
conference.
Sure.
So we can figure out how to spend the money.
Sounds like a lot of programs is what they're wanting it for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, Ray.
All right, well, as you know, we lost one of our collection counties effective July 1st. So when that happened, I got on the phone and started working the phones to try to find a county that would be interested in replacing Buchanan County. I was surprised when I had 3 counties commit to, tentatively commit to joining our program. And those 3 are Henry County, which is Mount Pleasant, has a population a little over 17,000. Delaware County, which is Manchester, which has a little over 20,000. And then the county that seems to be the most interested is Dubuque with a population of 98,000. So Henry and Delaware have $50,000 thresholds. Dubuque has a $300,000 thresholds. Deb and I have worked on this a lot. I've drafted the agreements because I just don't know, you know, exactly where their board. I know that Dubuque board has already talked about it, but the other 2 boards haven't. So I wanted to have everything in line on our end, so they could go talk to them. We think we can do this with 2 employees added to the department, and we've mapped out physical space, and Ben's been in and done a sort of a overview to see what he would need to do to make it work. So it's doable. If we took all 3 of them, we could do it. It would be a challenge the first year, but they changed the rules a little bit. You only have to make 80% of threshold the first year, and then if you don't make 100 the first year, you have to make 125 by the end of the second year. So essentially you have almost 2 years, you have basically 2 years to get to 125. Which Dubuque, if it's over 100,000 would be a $600,000 threshold, but we looked at the data and population's been dropping in Dubuque. In fact, every river county in the state dropped the last time in population. So it would appear we're gonna stay at 300,000 for quite a while, if not forever, with Dubuque, which makes that much more attractive than it would be if it was over 100,000. So I'm sure there's a lot of questions, and obviously we need to discuss things, but that's why we're here.
Hand out the
Yeah,
20 agreement.
yeah, I drafted the 20E agreements. The split would be 50-50 across the board. And it's a 3-year agreement because we're gonna need 3 years to be up and fully running in Dubuque, I think.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
50-50 across the board, and their county attorneys have agreed to that.
When I saw the agenda about contract collections department, I printed off a county state map with their populations,
Right,
because I wasn't sure where Henry County was. I
right.
know where Delaware was, you know.
This population thing's been a little challenging
I
because,
wasn't sure where these counties are.
yeah,
So
Mount Pleasant is Henry.
it's good to see this. Henry's Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
What's a threshold? I don't
It's
get
What's
it.
the
in-
amount that we have to meet to stay in the program. And once we reach threshold, our office
Gets more
gets
money.
the 5%. And when it's with the other counties, it'd be 2.5%.
Sure.
So if you don't make threshold, then you get kicked out of the program and the state takes it back over
For 2 years.
for 2 years. So that's sort of their motivational approach to get fines collected,
So the state's currently collecting for,
all 3 of these counties,
for
yep.
these counties?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're getting,
Collections.
they're getting nothing from it,
The counties are getting nothing
right?
in
It
return?
all goes to the
Oh, it goes to
state.
state, they get nothing right now,
Wow.
So when we start collecting, the state still gets 72% of what we collect.
Yeah.
Benton County gets 28%. Once threshold is met, then the county attorney, it's the incentive percentage is 5%, and that comes off of the state's 72%.
Okay.
5%.
So if you took Dubuque County, which I think could generate, once you're up to full speed, $1.5 million a year, somewhere in that neighborhood. So if you take the 28% of that and half of that, we'd be, you know, 250, 300,000 potentially, we could earn off it. 200,000. I mean, it would definitely pay for itself.
I'm surprised Dubuque County hasn't.
Well, they've had some turmoil up there in the past with the county attorney's office, and they have a brand new county attorney in January, who I've gotten to know pretty well. He's a good guy, so. He said he's talked to his board, and sometime they'd like to try it, but they recognize they're not in a position to do it.
Well, Dubuque County, I know logistics, I mean, that's, you hear a lot about East Dubuque, which is of course Illinois.
Right.
And that's, you got Illinois and Wisconsin, is that gonna be a problem, do you think? I
Well,
mean,
I think it will generate more traffic than the population necessarily indicates. You know, because it's like, you know, it is like a hub, kind of tri-city thing.
yeah.
So in that sense, it might be more profitable than you would anticipate.
Well, I'm
More
wondering,
work.
does Dubuque County go after out-of-state? Well, they don't, obviously, right now. Would you be going after out-of-state
I do now,
citations or
Yeah.
whatever?
I do now,
Do you?
yeah. Waverly is a college town, so there's kids
Sure.
there that get tickets. We deal with a lot of Minnesota drivers.
Yeah,
And the way we deal with that is, the only thing that will lift the suspension is paying that case off when they're out of state.
the suspension, this is on a driver's license you're
Yes.
Yep.
talking.
Yep.
Yes.
Suspension for another state?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure how it works.
There's
I know how
nationwide-
CDL works.
Yeah, there's nationwide, there's only like 5 states that don't participate in that. So if Iowa puts a suspension on someone's license out of state, that state honors it.
Okay.
And so if they get pulled over, they're gonna say, well, you're suspended in Iowa, here's a ticket. So, and then they call and wanna get it paid off.
Okay. Because Henry County alone looks like it's population-wise about what Buchanan was. I mean, Buchanan shows 21, Henry is 20,
Right.
and Delaware is 17,
Delaware is similar to Tama.
size-wise, yeah, I see that.
One of my concerns is that Brent from Tamas told me that his board's getting more and more restless about taking over their collections at some point. So I feel, and so does Deb, that if and when Brent retires, we may lose that county. So I'm trying to sort of plan for the future.
Sure.
Banking.
Does,
Yeah.
preservation affect this at all, like in Tama County?
No, that's all separate. They're their own government.
You know,
So you understand that if he signs on with the 2080 agreement with these 3 counties, he'll probably need more help.
Well, just what they said, they're looking at 2 more people, is that what you
That's
said?
2, I wanna see if we
Yeah.
can handle it with 2, then be aware that maybe in the future I might need someone else. I'm not
It's hard to
sure
predict.
how this is all gonna work. I've got a plan in my head. I went through and measured the office roughly, drawn up how we can fit 2 more desks in. The only thing is, the way I have it set, and I'll show you what I'm thinking. It's kind of hard to see on these, but. I don't have a
Thank you.
color printer or the
No, that's fine,
fancy.
that's fine.
Yeah, there's actually 4 desks in there,
Okay.
divided down the center.
Yep.
But I think we can make it work. The only thing is, a couple of those desks face the counter at the door, so they probably need to have privacy. You can put something on the screen so that nobody else can read your screen.
Oh, really? I
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
realize
a
that.
couple of those in our office.
Well, I was
Yeah,
gonna
They
say,
do work too.
Good.
we got some 6-foot walls here that you could put in front of the desk if they wanted to divide it off that way, that they're not looking,
Yeah, I'm not sure we have room to,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
It could be slid right up to the desk.
yeah. I think it might be easier just to do the
Huh?
privacy on the monitor.
Okay.
So these are a 3-year agreement, correct? Okay, and I presume they, like these agreements, like all county business operates on a fiscal year,
Right,
like July
It
1?
does.
yep.
We're on
Okay.
a deadline. If we're doing this, it has to be everything filed by June 30th.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hustle to get this in place.
So,
That's why we had this meeting today, since Deb's going on
Leaving
vacation tomorrow.
vacation tomorrow,
That's
yeah.
why
sure,
Yeah.
makes sense.
And I appreciate that, because
Yeah.
Ray's like, can you stay another day? I said, I really don't want to.
Well, how are, you'll be training,
3 people. Yeah, Lena's coming along. I've got her, I started her in one area, and she's ready to move to a new area.
okay,
And that's what I intend to do with the new people. I want to start them in one area till they're comfortable with it, rotate them, and then let them get comfortable in a different area. So,
Sure.
And salary wise for these new people, I'll either bring them in right at what Atlanta's making or just slightly under, since you'll have 6 more months than they will. You know, somewhere in that 35 to 36 range.
I think it's a good idea. I think there's no reason.
Well, the only thing that I foresee that's the drawback, and it's not a drawback either. You got your budget already set for next fiscal year, that starts July 1.
Right,
You don't have that figured in for these extra people.
no,
So we'll have to do a budget amendment somewhere down the road that fiscal year, even though hopefully these 2 new people are bringing funds back into the county on the collection part. You know what I mean?
yep.
Because that's a totally separate, well, the money that you're bringing in is totally separate from the money going out for the wages. So that's the only thing, only drawback I see on this situation right now.
And that's where in the years past, we used some of the collections funds to pay
And we
a
could
few
do
of
it.
their employees.
We can do that again too.
See if we could do that again.
Yeah, I think we have like 30,000 in that account.
okay.
I think we committed up to 20 some every
Wh-
year.
What about your, I mean, that's just employees. What's it cost to take a county on? You know, because you're gonna have computers, you're gonna have
we'll need 2 more
paper goods, et
computers,
cetera.
2 more phones, 2 more desks. So, yeah, there's gonna be that expense.
We don't use that much paper though, do you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was say if you're mailing out stuff, and then your
Yeah.
postage is gonna go up.
It is.
Because number-wise, currently, you're about 67 for total populations with the 3 counties. And you'd be going to almost 134.
Yeah,
That's just about double
yeah.
Yeah.
what you're currently doing.
And that's why we wanna add 2 people.
So you're gonna be adding, I mean, you're gonna have about 3 times the work.
Yes,
You get your regular work plus,
yes. Yeah.
wow.
And then
We've talked about this a lot. 'Cause I was
God, I
concerned
hope
about
so,
that.
yeah.
the roughest part for me is I can't get my work done when I'm training someone.
Right, right.
So I'm putting in extra hours to get everything done.
And at some point, we may have to look at her salary since she'll be supervising 3 people. You know, when we get this up and running, I may wanna ask you to do something to,
Well, I think this is great, I'm just wondering if he's biting off a big chunk here. You
How-
got 2 counties, Henry and Delaware, I think you can handle quite comfortably.
right,
Delaware's, I'm sorry, not Delaware. Henry, Delaware, I think you can handle. Dubuque is a big one.
It
it
is.
is.
That's, I'm just wondering if,
But thankfully, they only have the $300,000 threshold. So it's
Right.
very doable.
I guess what I'm looking at is, they've already said that they want to do this.
Dubuque,
Yes.
Okay.
So I feel that if we back out and say, no, that option goes away. I think they look for someone else. I don't think, other than the salaries and that, I don't think we're out a lot to try it. I'm not afraid to do hard work. I'm not afraid of that. It's just the threshold amount scares me.
Now, the first two counties that you got right now, Tama and is it Bremer,
Mm-hmm, yeah.
does their 28Es renew every year?
Yes.
Yeah,
It does,
yeah. But I wanted 3 years with Dubuque, because it's gonna be a big project.
I agree.
I want to guarantee
Yep.
that we're not gonna walk away from this after we get everything in place.
Right.
And that was what I asked him. I said, I don't wanna put all this work in and then, May 1st, they say we're out. And he said, how would you feel about 3 years? I said, I think that'd be about right.
Just,
So like, a year from now, you could tell, something could happen to Tama County or,
well, if they're already talking that they're wanting to look at it on their own, I get it, and they're not a 50-50 split.
right, this would be a 3-year locked in with these 3 counties.
Right. Mhm.
That way you're not just hiring 1 or 2 more people and then all of a sudden a
Yeah.
year down the road, what are we doing?
Sure.
The only thing that will throw a
If we don't
kink
make
in that
threshold,
is if we don't
Yeah.
make
threshold, then we get kicked out, and then
Yeah.
we'll have to readjust everything.
If
But you got technically like 2 years to do that, right?
Yep,
To get to 125%.
yep,
But if that would happen, that you lose, and I'm gonna pick on Dubuque because it's the big one.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And
makes
that's the
sense.
large threshold.
Right.
I don't think the others are gonna be a problem for you. It's, cause you said they were 50,000 threshold each,
Yep,
but Dubuque was 200,
300,
300.
yeah.
300, yeah.
And if they
Oh,
go
God, I
over,
wrote that down wrong.
if their population goes over 100,000, it bumps to 600,000.
Which I don't see it doing that since it's been on the decline.
Okay, so, oofta.
Uh-huh.
If you're hiring based on that, those numbers, and if they lose down the road, and old Rick's not gonna be here, but you would be, are you gonna have to cut staff?
Yeah,
Nobody likes to do that.
yeah.
No.
Well, I think you gotta be upfront with these people and say, look, this is a program that,
Yeah.
may not survive through 2 or 3 years down the road.
Ray, tell the other 2 board members here, your ideas on the hiring, the way you would hire these people on their
I'd like to hire them on a full-time temporary basis, so they understand it's full-time, but it's, the commitment is not, forever in this job. My only concern is whether that would detract from people applying, but I think at some point in the process before we hire them, we have to explain to them, look, this program is kind of a contingent program in that we have to do this.
The problem is, it's not ever a set income. People pay their fines, they go out, new people come in. It's
Yeah.
very fluid, the
Yeah.
numbers are never gonna be, okay, it's gonna be this amount every year.
Sure.
It's never that.
No, I understand, yeah. Okay.
So how, let's say somebody backs out, how's your staff time or your employment time hinge on all this? I mean, you say you're gonna take on more people, but if you got 3 more employees and they're new, or 2 more employees and they're new, it's gonna take more time to get them up to speed.
It
Yeah,
is.
I think the next 4 or 5 months could be pretty challenging.
Are you gonna need any more help, or are you gonna go all to this?
Ray's aware that I've said at least 2 people with the option for maybe a third, but I don't know till we get into it where we're ending up.
I mean, we get the right 2 people, I think it's very doable.
Well, I don't wanna see you overworked to the point where you say the heck with it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
and-
like you, I'm concerned with Deb. She's gonna, that's a big
It is.
challenge.
It is. I've never backed down from one though. A little bit of stubbornness in me. So,
I mean, this is what we asked him to do, go out and find some more,
yeah.
That's what you asked me to do, so I
you know,
did it.
and he's done that. Yeah, And so he's asking us to try to find the money to help fund this. So I guess my question, obviously needing more help and supplies, et cetera, is the income gonna offset the cost from that to Benton County?
Well, I think certainly it will in the smaller counties fairly quickly, I think, because we'll hit threshold, get that extra 5%. But if, what's estimated if you do $1.5 million in Dubuque, 30% of that would be 450,000, so we would split, basically about 430,000 we would split, so our take would be about 210, 215 a year, and that's really rough. But yeah, it would be very profitable.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it. Surely should.
Well, I get it, but I'm wondering what, by the time you hire, you know, someone, and with the benefits,
If you had 100, say you had 60,000 in each employee,
what's that, right?
let's say you had 60,000 in each employee, you start with 35, you would still have at least $100,000 after all that, I would think, just from the one county.
Okay.
And in some ways, I'll say Delaware concerns me a little bit more, because do they have the court cases? Being a smaller county, they're similar, but Tama's got a lot of court cases. They do a trial almost every week down there. So, with a smaller population, do they have the court cases that are gonna help us reach threshold in time? Until we start working it, you don't know. It's all a big gamble.
I mean, they do have Highway 20 that goes through there, which would help
Sure,
some.
which everybody knows that.
Call their officers, tell them to
Yeah.
write more tickets.
Yeah,
What kind of income do you currently derive, like Bramer and Tama, if it's gonna cost you 60,000 a head for, help?
I didn't bring numbers with me, Rick.
I was just kinda curious, wondering if you're bringing in 80,000 a year, or if you're bringing in 180,
What
it
did I
makes
tell you
quite a
on Benton
difference.
for numbers this morning?
all I remember is there were 19,000 ahead of last year in Benton, that's all I remember.
So-
That's all I wanted to hear.
I want to say threshold amount in Benton last year was over 200,000
In Benton,
in Benton,
yeah,
so.
which you're gonna do Benton County no matter what.
Right.
Yes.
Obviously, so it's
Buchanan
just the
was higher.
contracted ones, I
Yeah.
was kinda concerned,
Yeah.
yeah,
I can get numbers for you if you would like.
well, yeah. But you want an answer now.
Well, I
So-
don't know, that's why we gave you the paperwork and that we're talking about this. I figured, I don't know what Ray's thoughts, but I figured you guys would want time to discuss this, look it over. I thought maybe in the next week or so, we might be able to get an answer on whether you want us to proceed or not. But if we can get kind of an indication that maybe you're thinking that way, we can give paperwork to the other counties. Their boards can be working on, looking over the paperwork. Because like I said, all this has to be done and filed by June 30th.
Everybody's board has to sign off on it.
Well, and I think we're probably on board with it, wouldn't you say?
I'm all for it, 100%.
But I'd like to know what the cost factors are. I mean, you spend $1, do you get $1 back? If that's the case, it's not worth doing. If you spend $1 and you get $2 back, well, that's not so bad.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I never figured salaries or anything, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's just what I'm shooting for. I mean, that's good business.
Haley, what do the benefits cost in a salary?
So like insurance at the family packet, we usually gotta figure high, probably about 22,000 for just health insurance. And then you gotta look at like the IPERS, Medicare withholdings, all that stuff. So
So somewhere in that 65, 70 range?
roughly, what did I, hold on, I sent something to.
That is the just family insurance.
Yeah, I always plan that because you don't know when they come in, if they're gonna be a
Yeah.
family or
Right.
single. But yeah, I would say at least that 60,000 range, if you're paying 35 to 36 is probably a good, and we can nitpick that down and take the salary times the withholdings and figure that out.
And what'd you say on that, Haley? What'd you say that number was?
On this map.
Well, like
you
Ray
got
said, about
three.
60 sounds pretty close, but
It's Washington, and then it's
like
got
you
the
gotta do
population, then
Medicare,
it's got a
Vipers is like
percentage number
9.44%.
underneath.
Yeah, I think that's growth or decline.
FICA, you know,
Like
all
Benton
those,
County
so you
shows
take
that
that lump
it's a
sum
decline
times
of
those
about
percentages
1.5%.
and see what all that is.
I don't know, I just went to the computer and asked, put in Iowa counties and population, this is what popped up. And I think that, again, that's, like Dubuque shows it had a 2.9% growth.
Okay.
Benton County had a 1.5
I'm
decline.
gonna look at one for an example for you.
Tama had a decline. Henry had a 0.4% growth, according to that. But, yeah. I don't know. Like I said,
I don't think we'll lose money. I mean, 3 years from now, if we do this, I think we'll look back and we won't have any major regrets in terms of it costing us out of pocket.
Well, we've been doing 4 counties. Have we lost money with doing the 4 counties?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Well, you've already been making money.
I would,
But your threshold's smaller on each county.
it is on those, I mean, they'll all be the same, they'll all be 50,000.
Dubuque, which is gonna have
Yeah.
Which,
4 times as much money to generate that threshold.
I would say about 65,000 for a $36,000 salary. When you look at the withholdings and figure in the health insurance as a family. And then, if they do flex, give or take, dental, eye, that should probably be about right.
Well, he's looking for an answer, guys.
well, I've already said that I think, from the sounds of it, that we're all on board.
Yeah.
Except I would like to know, some numbers, estimates. I mean, you don't take on a job unless you know that you can make money at it.
Well, you guys can't get the figures from the other counties until you sign on, correct?
I tried to get
Yeah, we-
an idea for Dubuque
Yeah.
and them, and the state blew me off.
They won't cooperate.
They won't.
Well,
Yeah.
but based on your history, currently Bremer County, 24,000 population, based on history, what your income has been for Bremer, which should be like Benton. So, I mean, they should be able to estimate, shouldn't they, on a,
Well, Dubuque is almost
Per
Yeah,
exactly,
Duke is bigger, they
oh, I
gotta,
get that, yeah.
Dubuque is almost exactly 4 times bigger, so if you take that 420,000 times 4,
Right.
and then your percentage of that, I mean, it should be very doable.
Yeah. Yep. Again, I don't wanna spend 200,000 and get 150 back.
no.
Right,
no.
no.
Cause that, all they're doing then is spinning their wheels and working themselves to death.
Right, and we'd have to definitely reevaluate if we got in that situation quickly.
Yeah.
We're gonna know, I think, maybe halfway in the year.
Could you do me a favor, please, and open the all-county collection spreadsheet? No,
No, I think this is very good, I do.
no, it'll just say all-county. And it should be for 22, 23.
Trying to get some numbers for you.
Sure.
And if she wants to email it to me too, you can look at it and figure it out.
It'll be in Benton folder. Mm-hmm.
So we need a formal motion.
No, we don't
need a motion yet.
No, I don't think so.
All you gotta do is give him, what's your opinion? And I'm all for it. We've been talking here the last couple of weeks on this deal. So that's why I'm on this
That's not
speed
the one
on
I
it.
want.
I'm for it too.
Yep.
It
Okay,
wouldn't be
no, that's all right.
this numbers business, it wouldn't.
Okay, so the first
As
two
long as
counties,
he's making
they're
money. you
calling
know,
Right,
it Benton.
That's the whole deal. And I
The second two are Bremer.
I think he will be.
I need the
I do too,
total
but
in
the
Bremer's
drawback is
first column.
hiring somebody, you know, you got
And it
two
should
right
be
now.
for last
One's
week.
being trained.
There should be a total
She's
right
her-
below it.
She's got one thing down pat. Okay, Deb's already doing, you know, the work of everything on the collection side. So, you have to train the new ones, well, that's gonna take a couple of months, come
Yeah, I think
July
she said
1.
about 6
And that's
months.
for
Yeah.
two, for this
Yeah,
year,
get through
correct?
this until
You're
they
not
really
going down to the
know all
red.
aspects of
or
it.
the red
So
numbers.
That's one
Okay.
drawback, you know.
So what is
And of course,
Buchanan,
Dubuque's,
please?
the other thing is that they gotta raise that first 300,000, you know.
And they're gonna lose
Tana?
half their first year in training,
Right.
which he's already said
Right.
he believes they'll slap your hand the first year to state,
And that
Right.
is just for
And
threshold,
then make
correct?
you
It's not the non-threshold.
overproduce the second
You're
year.
right.
So,
Okay,
but again,
that's what I
I'm
need.
just kinda
Thank you,
curious what
sweetie.
the
Yeah.
income is
All right.
versus the
I asked
expenses.
that, you know, how much fines is there out there to?
Sure.
Yeah, and the state won't cooperate, because of course the state don't wanna lose it.
That's
Right,
exactly.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
So-
but based on their experience with the other counties.
Yeah.
We have 6 weeks left in this fiscal year for us to collect.
Yeah.
Bremer right now is at $221,708 toward threshold,
Okay,
which means we're getting, the county attorney's office is getting 2.5% of that.
and you've got 50%, excuse me, 50,000 is your threshold.
Right.
Yeah, we met that clear back in September.
So we're getting
Sure,
107,
sure.
we're getting an extra 5% of the last 170,000.
So just on Bremer alone's paying for, you know, 2 of the employees' wages right
Pretty
now.
close, pretty close.
Buchanan, $293,659.98.
Okay,
You know, really, if these counties wanna take it over after we've been collecting, it's gotta be good, otherwise they wouldn't be
well,
wanting.
that's why Buchanan is, but, so the two, I'm gonna back up to Bremer, I think you said was 221?
221,708.
Okay, is that gross receipts collected?
Yeah.
Or is that your percentages?
That's our percentage.
That's your percentage,
That's our
Yeah.
percentage.
yeah.
Yeah, that's our
Well,
threshold.
yeah, because if you were doing,
I thought that was like gross.
well, if that was gross, then you'd be half of that, and, you know.
Yeah.
So this is your
Yeah.
percentage.
The state
of
gets
income.
72%. That's not figured in here at all.
Sure, sure,
Once we meet that and you guys get 28% of everything that we collect.
the county.
Yeah, the fines and, I
Sure.
shouldn't say everything, because restitution we don't.
Okay, so-
But,
So if you take 221,708 times 28%?
28%.
Okay, 0.28, that's 62,000, correct?
Should be.
Okay, according to my calculator.
The other thing
62.
is, if nobody's been collecting in these counties,
The state has,
Yeah,
okay,
the state has.
okay, is there any extra at the beginning?
When we start collecting day one, we start at 0.
They give us a list of eligible defendants to collect from.
So
And we start with that on day one.
the state's been collecting it,
Right.
so they don't really want it, obviously.
The state, yeah, they want it. They
Yeah,
want- That's why they won't give her the
that's
figure.
right.
Because they wanna keep it.
Yeah, they don't wanna give her the figure, how much money they've been drawing in.
Yeah, they're not gonna give up a couple $1 million as
This
a
is
fee.
one of them deals that we can't find out. I understand where Rick's coming from, he wants to make sure that they're gonna make money on this deal. But if the state ain't gonna give us the figures, let's
'Cause what-
being drawn in.
Explain this to me, what all of
You
it
don't
that
know.
you're collecting fines from, or what?
We don't get the surcharge, we don't get restitution. Seems like there's one more thing, my brain's not coming up with it. We get the cost, the fine. I think that's it.
But it's all related to court costs and stuff?
Yeah, it's all,
Now, if it's a city, we get 10% of what we collect for a city ticket. And we don't get the full.
Okay, so 293 is Buchanan. Do you have Benton's there?
I don't, I just asked for
That's fine,
Bremer,
that's fine,
Buchanan,
those
and
two.
Tama.
That's
Tama's
fine.
223,000.
I'm sorry,
Tama, 223,690 and 21 cents.
223.
223,690.
Yeah, I just took the big amount. 3 times 0.28. Okay, so basically, using rough numbers, Buchanan and Tama, I think that's the first one you gave me was Buchanan, right?
First one I gave you was Bremer.
Bremer.
Oh, Bremer, I'm sorry.
221, Buchanan 293, Tama 223.
basically, Bramer and Tame are pretty much paying the salaries right now.
Sure, so, Bremer, you've got about a 62,000 at 28%, about $62,000 income to the county, is that right?
I haven't figured it,
Take-
but I'll trust your
yeah.
figures,
Under
Rick.
calculate, take 700,000 and 28% of that, what's that?
Well, I did the 221, which was 62,000, the 293, which was 82, and then Tama 223 is 62. So when you add those all up, it's about a $200,000 income.
But then you gotta remember, we only get 50% of that.
They split that, so
Oh, so you split that.
Yes.
So your
Everything's
income
50-50
is
at this point.
100,000.
plus the 5% we get after we meet threshold. We get all that right
Okay.
It's
now.
only 2.5%.
Well, okay, yeah, we get half that, right?
Threshold is
Well, it
met.
was looking better on my way.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
But it's-
Well, I wanted to make sure that we aren't
Okay.
misleading you.
Still
So,
profitable. It will be,
2, 2, 3.
Or not from day one, but as you see it going forward, yeah.
the four counties
Maybe I'm-
together probably generate close to 200,000, what do you think?
I
Yeah.
would think.
Our share of the four counties right now would be in the $200,000 range that we get to keep.
And maybe it's easier to say threshold, whatever we collect toward threshold is what we get a percentage of. The stuff that is, we collect more than that, but not all of it goes towards the threshold. Some of it goes directly to state.
So then that goes into that incentive fund, because you said how much is in there now, Ray?
About 30, I think, isn't it? I don't know,
I
it
could
would,
look it up, I guess, I don't remember before, but, yeah. Because otherwise, does the jail get some of that money too? No.
no.
No,
Well,
we
they didn't
don't.
give me that proportion of
No.
them.
It is just really complicated to explain.
It's unnecessarily complicated, in my opinion.
Mine too.
Yeah, look at good cash.
I think they're doing that on purpose. I don't understand.
Well, from what I can see, that 200,000, if you get 50% of that, that's 100. And then you get 2.5% after you meet the threshold, which I took the 737 minus 150 for the 3 counties, is 587.70. That's 15 grand at 2.5%. So currently those 3, not counting Benton,
Right.
Yeah, 'cause that's
about
100%.
$115,000. Okay? It's gonna be tough with Dubuque in there at a $300,000 threshold. The other ones, I think, would be a cakewalk for you.
Maybe you have like 33,575 in there.
33,000?
Yeah.
But you're 2.5, you said 2.5%, it's 5%, ain't it? The attorney gets,
They split.
Everything's split 50/50.
They split
Except
it.
for Benton County.
Except for Benton County, we get all of that.
the 5%.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, they split that too, so, yeah. Dubuque scares me. Sorry. It does. Does it you, Deb?
It does, but I think we can do it. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, it's all fluid and things, it's never consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you'd have any problems with the other two, $50,000 thresholds, 300,000.
The only thing, it's like Ray said, we have 2 years to meet
I
the
get it,
threshold.
I get it. And then you could lose it, and then you'd have to lay people off.
Yep,
Okay.
good.
And that's never good. Okay.
How many counties are there in the state that are not collecting this?
There's not very many.
Not very many, and most of those that aren't are really small. I'd pick Delaware and Henry because they fit kind of the profile we've been doing. And then Dubuque, I've been talking to Scott Nelson, their county attorney, and he's expressed some interest in it. So we got to talking, and they want to get the collections, bringing something into them as quick as they can.
What county was that, I'm sorry?
Dubuque, Scott Nelson and Dubuque,
Okay.
yeah. So.
So
I don't see us going in the hole at all. I don't see that happening. Because essentially these 3 counties are paying for the staff we have now and a little extra. Benton's probably paying for at least one more, if not another, so Dubuque might be all, uncommitted money, potentially, or most of it.
I'm all for it. I guess like I said, the other 2 counties are neighbors to the north and to the west. Maybe they'll drop out next year.
Yeah.
This way we got 3 of them locked in for 3 years.
That's the good part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look for Dubuque to stick around for 10 years. That won't happen.
I don't think so either. But we
I-
have it for 3.
I guess I don't have any problem with Henry and Delaware. I'm just questioning if Dubuque's biting off more than we can chew.
Unfortunately, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah.
And like I said, I tried to get a hold of the state to see if we had any kind of idea what they're collecting. They'd answer other questions, but that one they left alone.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. That,
And we gotta send these agreements out. I mean, they may balk it to 3 years, but I'm not doing it for less than that. It doesn't make sense.
yeah, my gut feeling on Dubuque isn't good, but, I just, because of the 300,000, because you're gonna kill yourself, Deb, trying to train, 3 people like this. So,
Here's the other thing, 3 years, I'm getting ready to retire at that point. So you'll have 3 new people that'll be all trained.
Yeah.
well, that's not all bad either, so, yeah.
It could be really good for Benton. I
Yeah.
don't know till we get in there and see what's going on. And like I said, I need your cooperation if I need another person.
I like the gun-ho part, I'm just concerned about,
Yeah, my mind's been going every which way, so I don't know what's the best.
We've tried every scenario to,
Sure.
this is the way I look at it, I mean, it's a good deal, we got 3 years locked in. We got people that are qualified, we got people that, can get the work done. We just won't go for it. I mean,
Well, we have a person qualified, she's training the other one, she's been there maybe 2 months.
And she's been since the end of January.
Has it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, July
4
would be
months
6
or
months,
whatever.
yeah.
And so, yeah, it's, and she's gonna have to train additional. That's, you know, I guess,
Well, here's the other thing too, excuse me for interrupting. We don't know that they're all going to agree.
Right.
They've shown
Yeah.
interest.
The strongest candidate is Dubuque, based on my conversations.
So we
Because
don't.
he's
know.
already visited with his board about it, but
It'll still be up to the supervisor.
Right.
oh,
on
of
the
course,
county.
of
Right.
course, of course.
It ain't no done deal with any
No,
of these
no,
three right
no,
now.
no. I get that, and
But
they're
this is
just,
like, you know, it's gotta be done and filed with the state by June 30th, or, yeah, June 30th,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
That's
each
why-
county has to
why,
have.
and she's leaving on vacation,
Yeah,
that's why they
that's why
want to
we're
get together
hurrying this
today.
along
Yeah,
and
So
let
here's-
them drop the ball in their court. You know, you might have one out of the three say, nah, we ain't signing on.
Because they haven't seen the papers yet.
Yeah,
yeah.
They may
Yep,
not
yep.
agree. But here's what has to happen. Supervisors, both counties have to approve and sign the 28E agreement. Each of the counties that agrees to go into those 28E agreements has to file an NOFC, a notice of full commit, with the clerk of court, state clerk of court. Then they have to do an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, that also has to be filed.
and
That's their responsibility to do that.
I've drafted all these agreements for each county already. It's all done.
And then the 28E agreement has to be filed with the state.
Sure.
So those are all the steps that have to be done before June 30th. The first thing we have to see is if you guys are okay with this, if we send the paperwork to these counties.
Yeah. So, on the positive side of things, potential income, obviously, like I said, 2 out of 3, I'm real comfortable with. And on the negative side, you know, if it doesn't work, you have to let people go, or you retire.
Yep. I don't know that that's a negative, Rick.
But what happens with the other counties if we don't, like Dubuque, because they've got the 300,000. If we don't meet the threshold, what happens there?
It goes back to the state.
No, I get that, but are they losing money then, or what?
The county attorney's office will, yes, and the county itself will.
They're not getting anything now, so. this is-
Oh, they're
100%
getting
with
nothing?
vote.
Yeah, they get nothing now. So we're actually
So
helping
they got
them.
nothing to lose.
Right.
100% of what is collected for those counties is going to the state.
They're getting nothing.
Only because Benton County only gets money from collections because the Benton County Attorney's Office is doing the collection.
Sure.
So it'd be the same in those other counties.
Sure, yeah.
And that's why this is so appealing to Dubuque.
Well,
They're getting, you know, a couple $1 million worth of fines collected, and they're seeing none of it.
right. What's the worst that could happen? I mean, you get there and, again, I'm squeamish about that $300,000 threshold.
I like it better than the 600, which is what I thought we were gonna have to do.
Well, but that's 6 times higher than any of the other
It
ones.
It
is,
is, right.
And
It
so
is.
that's just like, oh my God,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
but, yeah, nothing ventured, nothing gained, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, wow.
I think the worst part is if we'd have to let people go. To me,
I
that's
do
the worst
too.
part.
Well, and the cost of the, you know, I'm sure you can offset your costs. I'm really sure you can. I'm just, you know, if you don't make threshold the second year, you know,
Yeah.
you gotta let people go. It just, that's a bad deal.
It is,
Yeah.
it's never a comfortable thing.
No.
But I think if they know going in that that's a possibility,
That if you don't have these contracts, well, but then maybe you'd be able to pick up something else. But
Yeah,
you never
yeah.
know.
you've already said some are pretty small.
There are 3 or 4 about this size still, but these look more attractive to me and just because, you know, I know a little
Sure.
bit more about them.
Well, you're not getting rich doing it,
No,
no, we're not.
so. Go forth and see what happens, right?
I'm all for it. Gary? Gary's got a nod. You're for it then?
Well, I said, go forth, see what happens.
Okay,
okay,
go ahead and go.
Alright, so next step, get the paperwork to the other counties and
Yeah.
see where it goes.
yeah. And then
Keep us informed, of course,
Right,
what's
'cause-
going on with the 3.
if they commit, then we need to start looking at putting some ads in the paper, get some people hired.
And then the next thing is that for some of the equipment, don't get excited about, ordering desks or anything. We'll look around what we got here in the county,
Okay,
okay?
yeah. I don't know.
Some chairs, we'll just
Yeah, we got
replace
plenty of
a
chairs.
couple office chairs. I mean,
Oh, I didn't even think of chairs, I was gonna
Yeah.
stand up.
just upgraded some. I
Yeah, we
mean,
don't have
they're not
policies in
horrible,
desk,
but
do we?
Okay,
to get started anyway.
yeah, yeah. That sounds like a plan.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You don't need a motion, right, because you're
No.
just giving him,
No,
Yeah.
until you get the contract.
Giving him a nod, and he can send them on.
Thank you, everyone.
I really appreciate you making the time to do this today. So,
Enjoy your vacation.
I will think about you when I'm fishing.
I'll
catch
bet
one
you
for
do.
ya.
I'll bet you
There
do.
we go.
My husband always says he hates me going fishing because I catch them. He doesn't.
Motion adjourned.
Do reports
Yeah.
tomorrow. I don't have any anyway.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
He wants to go.
Doors
I
closed.
think.
yeah,
Got a
second.
farm?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're done.
Okay.
You got any?